Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Chaseontwowheels here in beautiful South Dakota. Bo and I are out here for Revzella's 2022 Get On ADV Fest. Now, while we've been out here for 3 days of epic freaking, look where we are. Epic freaking riding, guys, and it's all been ADV content. Harley was nice enough to loan us 2 of these 2022 brand freaking new Pan Ams. We've been out here making content. I've spent 3 days of riding all day off-road on this Pan Am. And I have this road ahead of me for one specific purpose, and that is to give you guys a off-road review of the Pan America. Now, if you're new to the channel, you don't know about me, I am a street rider. I have a lot of street experience. I've been riding for like 10 to 12 years, but it's all on road. I'm brand new to this off-road segment, which might have you wondering, just what the f are you doing on a 1250 cc motorcycle? Like, this is not the bike you would think to start your off-road journey, but it's what was available to us, and that's what we used. So guys, without further ado, I'm going to hop on this bike. We are going to head in that direction, and we're going to talk about what the Pan Am is like for an adventure off-road bike. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride, ladies and gentlemen. I know I will. If you guys are curious if we've put miles on them, this bike was pristine clean when we picked it up. As you can see, it is no longer that. A lot of similarities between this and my Sportster S, so that was a little helpful to get me started. Before we get going, I do want to let you guys know some info on my experience thus far. When I first got into town, Harley, obviously we picked up the bikes, but we had Rob from Harley take us through a little 30-minute demo course of, just things you need to know about this motorcycle, how to brake on it, how to maneuver your body with it. And that was super important because before that, I had no idea. Through all the stuff I'm going to tell you guys about all the adventures we've gotten in with these things, that was so crucial. If you're interested in ADV content or riding ADV, I do highly recommend you guys search out and get some sort of information on how to ride and learning some of the big techniques. We've got a 5 techniques video that you can check out, but again, I feel like if you, watch the video, right? But having a professional teach you is super important. Let's get into this review thing. I know the thumbnail title, it might seem real clickbaity. Because you guys probably, if you don't know, I've been kind of deciding what ADV bike I want. And the Tenere 700 is really high up there. A lot of you guys that are looking into ADV content know that that's a huge deal bike in this segment. What I've really come to love and has saved my ass multiple times with this motorcycle is the electronics package that it comes with. It is probably my favorite thing of the bike. We've done a couple demo rides out here. I've ridden a couple other ADV ride bikes. Ooh, slowing down quickly because I can. Oh my good Lord, what is this? It's probably interesting to say that I'm doing this on a road I've never ridden before, so keep that in mind. Yeah, the electronics, they are absolutely insane. And one of the things that the electronics does, for a guy like me, I'm very new to this style of riding. Naturally, because I'm new at it, I'm gonna make a ton of mistakes. And what I've noticed is off-road mode, not off-road plus, there's an advanced mode if you want that, I'm not to that point, but the off-road mode that the Pan Am has on it, it just helps me out where if my rear wheel starts spinning and it starts sliding sideways, it'll adjust the power, it'll adjust the traction to make sure I maintain traction in that environment. It's absolutely insane. Also, the braking on this bike is disgusting. And I'm talking off-road, I'm not talking on-road. The front brake is actually linked to the rear brake. The rear brake is not linked to anything other than itself. To stop this thing, all you have to do is lean back and just squeeze hard on that front lever. This thing comes to a stop so soon. I'm going to demonstrate that for you guys here in a second. Watch this. You can feel that front wheel. It'll, the way it does it, it'll rotate and then stop and then rotate and then stop. It comes to a stop so fast. And that stop just then, that was front brake only. That was no rear brake. So I could have added the rear brake and I could have stopped even sooner. It's absolutely insane. That was one of those things Rob taught us in that little 30-minute refresher class. I mean, it was a refresher for Bo. He's done this stuff before. It was brand new to me. But yeah, the electronics make this thing extraordinarily approachable. I do got to talk about a couple of the negative things, because the bike's not perfect for sure. I think the kind of like glowing thing in the room is the weight. It's under 450 pounds, which is awesome, but that weight is a lot. Especially, you know, depending on the type of riding you're doing. We got into a situation with the weight. We went up to this big watchtower here, and when we got up there, the ground was really angled. To get the bikes turned around in that area where we didn't really, you know, you have to be very careful. You don't want to drop the bike, especially a bike you don't own. You got to be really careful with that. In situations where you're in a spot where it's hard to get the bike turned around, that weight is a little problematic. And if you're ever in a situation where you're leaning the bike over on the kickstand, that's another part where, I mean, we'll talk about the kickstand in a second, but the weight is really problematic when you try to lean the bike over in a off-road situation, in a kind of sketchy situation. If your kickstand's not down all the way and the bike leans a little bit, having that big heavy weight is going to let the bike get out of your control rather quickly. So we've had a couple instances where the bike's kind of toppled because we were in a really adverse situation and the weight got away from us. Like, on the positive side of the weight, I've done a couple test rides on a little bit lighter motorcycles. Obviously 1250 is huge. So there's been a couple other lighter bikes we've tried, and I gotta say, after riding a lighter weight off-road bike, I do rather prefer the heavier weight of the Pan Am. I feel more in control. I feel more composed. When I'm on a lighter motorcycle, I just don't get that feeling that I get on this bike. I kind of look at the weight as a positive in that aspect, but you know, the getting it leaned over is a little problematic. Now, the kickstand, oh boy, the kickstand. So if we're gonna be, if we're calling a spade a spade, the worst thing of this motorcycle is the kickstand. And the reason for that is because it has adjustable ride height. If you guys don't know about that, when you come to a stop on this bike, it actually lowers the bike down using the suspension settings because it's all electronic. It lowers the bike down to make it more approachable to shorter riders, which is amazing. They're the first to ever do that somehow. It seems kind of obvious now that somebody's done it, but they were the first ones to do that. It makes the bike have a really low ground clearance, and when you try to get the kickstand down and, like, you know, locked in place so the bike don't fall, it's hard because you have to end up leaning the bike to the right a little bit. And when you lean the bike to the right, now you're engaging that problematic part, which is all that weight. So how do you fix that? I don't really know. This is Harley's first ADV bike, and the worst thing is the kickstand. So sounds like to me it's a glowing review. All right, so we'll get down here and do a little U-turn. All right, so I'm gonna get it turned around. So here's a perfect example of where the weight's gonna be problematic. I'm on a relatively tiny road, and I gotta push that weight back. Doesn't happen that often, but when it does, it's problematic. Hi, Bo. All right, guys, before we get going anymore, so I'm stopped, right? I gotta get my visor open before I die. Kickstand, right? Look at that, go straight into the dirt. So now I have to lean the bike sideways. I can kick that kickstand forward. Now I can rotate it back, and it's on that kickstand. That's what I was talking about, where it feels a little sketchy. Now, these pegs, they are aftermarket, I do believe, but I love these pegs. We have ridden, my body's not built to do off-road. I haven't done a lot of off-road. It is hard for me to do off-road. My feet aren't used to standing on pegs all day. Those pegs have made it so easy to ride this bike all day standing up. Absolutely love those. I've got the top case on mine. I absolutely love the top case. I've been keeping all my camera gear in there. And this accessory bag, which I'm not going to take it off, but there's an attachment here, a little clip here, and a clip here. This bag is made for this motorcycle, and it fits on it like a freaking peach. One of the other things I didn't like about a thin motorcycle is when you're riding off-road, what you're supposed to do is if you're moving forward, you're supposed to stand up and use your legs and hold the tank right here. As you can see, Harley's got some ridge stuff going on. With a thinner motorcycle, I felt like my legs had to like stand like this. This motorcycle, being a little bigger, gives me that ability to hold with my legs and feel really secure. And I can do that all day. On that thinner motorcycle, I think we rode for like 20 or 30 minutes, and my legs were already doing like that, like shaking a little bit. So I actually prefer the thicker motorcycle in that regard. I'm gonna get back on the bike, and I want to explain to you guys why I feel like, one, this thing has scared me away from the T7, and why I would pick it over a T7 as I am right now. All right, tipping the bike over. That's when the weight comes in. Kickstand up. Speaking of rolling, we need to get going because it's hot. I think at this point, you get it. I really like this bike. And I think that this bike is an amazing motorcycle as an entry point into ADV riding. Now I know it is a 1250. It is very expensive. It is very big. I don't think you should get this as a first bike, not at all. But if you're an experienced rider like I am, and you're interested in dabbling in ADV, I don't want to do off-road dirt bike stuff. I'm not interested in that. I've had a WR for a while. I get that out. I've already had that time in my life. I want these adventures, and I feel like this is the perfect bike for that. And having a motorcycle like this with as stout as an electronics package, as stout as a traction control, the ABS, the brakes themselves, the suspension, all of it makes for I would call it like an effortless ride off-road. And having all of that technology kind of helping you out, because like I know how to use a throttle, I know how to use a clutch, right? That's not what I'm having to learn to do off-road. I'm learning to like how to balance my weight and how to move my body back and forth to keep traction with the bike. Having a bike with electronics that are this good, and you don't even really know how good they are until you do something like a little course where you got somebody telling you, all right, now I want you to slam on the brakes and let the bike do what it's going to do. That gives you so much more confidence, and the more confidence you have, the more willing you are to go out and do these big adventures. You don't want to wreck a bike, nobody does, and you want to build that confidence. To me, especially some of the paths we've taken, Bo and I, this last couple days, I've been telling Bo, if I was on a T7, like if Yamaha would have been like, Chase, take a T7, go out to ADV Fest and have the time of your life, I honestly don't think I would have had as good of a time, because I wouldn't have felt as planted because the bike is so much tinier, and I haven't ridden a T7, so this is all like hypothetical. With no electronics, any mess up I do, like guys, we're out in situations where me and Bo were in like out in the middle of nowhere. And if you were to go down in an area like that, I feel like you'd be so like crushed as a rider, you know, because every time you go down, or at least every time I go down on my road bikes, I have really appreciated having a motorcycle to kind of promote me to want to do off-road. We were riding a route earlier, and we had been riding on road for about probably an hour. I got to the point, I'm brand new to this, and I got to the point of like, I was getting frustrated because we hadn't hit dirt yet. I would have never thought I would have done that. I've always been scared of riding in the dirt. I don't understand it. I don't understand how all the traction works. But now I'm starting to understand that, and I honestly don't think I would have been this excited and this for it if I wasn't on a motorcycle that helped promote me doing that in a safe way. And for you guys that don't know, the T7 from Yamaha, no electronics. It's got ABS, and you can turn it off, and that's pretty much the end of the electronics on that motorcycle. Now, it's like that for a reason, and it's super popular. I'm worried if I got a T7, I'd ride it a bit, I'd wreck a lot, and then I would lose my confidence in how to ride off-road, and I wouldn't continue the learning process. Whereas with this Pan America, I've got this like safety net that allows me to, am I riding perfectly? Absolutely not. But I'm gaining that love for a certain style of riding. And I think overall it's going to keep me riding more. Now, obviously I don't own this bike. Harley, like, hopefully we'll have a loaner at some point. After this experience, it's really taught me that I would rather have a heavier bike with electronics than a lighter bike with no electronics for me, for off-road riding. Now guys, I know that was a lot. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Bo and I have had such an incredible time out here at Get On ADV Fest. I've been wanting to do ADV content, and coming out to ADV Fest just hyper drove that feeling, and getting to be on a bike that I think fits my skill level right now as a dirt rider. It was just the cherry on top of the sundae. I cannot say enough good things about the Pan Am. Yeah, it's heavy. Yeah, the kickstand's terrible. And if you can accept those two things, this is by far the best adventure bike I have ever freaking rode. And I feel so confident to lay on the brakes. Truly though, the brake thing, it's mind-blowing. To me at least. All right guys, we're coming to this clearing. I'm gonna wrap this video up. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did, make sure to hit the like button. If you're into motorcycle content, make sure to subscribe. We make a ton of it here, and we're gonna be making way more ADV content here in the future. I'm Chaseontwowheels. I appreciate you watching. We'll see you on the next one. Later guys. That rear wheel was losing its mind. Outro crew. Oh man, thank you guys for getting to the end of the video. We love you guys extra long time. Let me know guys, do you ride ADV? Do you want to ride ADV? Where are you at in your ADV journey? Let us know in the comments down below. Put OC in your comments so we know you made it to the outro crew, because we love you guys a little bit longer. All right guys, bye bye.